story. I believe that, story is not just about marketing any longer. Having a story and building a brand that people believe in is truly going to scale the way we drive and grow our brands going forward. And the reason why I say this is because, as most of you imagine, this is I think in the history, this is one of the busiest business eras we've had in history. Everywhere you go, without you guys realizing, every day you're probably engaging with over 5,000 brands on a single day, from when you wake up in the morning to picking up your phone, all the ads that are coming at you. When you think about going to brush your teeth, the toothpaste you're using is a brand that's talking to you. You get in your car, you see so many billboards on your way to the office. You get to the office, you're engaging, you put on your laptop, without even realizing over 5,000 brands you're engaged with on a daily basis. And all of this is noise. There's a lot of noise in the marketplace. So if you're building a brand, how do you ensure that your brand stands out of all that noise? And I think what's so exciting is, even as consumers, your attention span is just 8 seconds for every brand. So how do you grab attention? It's so difficult. It's no longer about grabbing attention. It's truly about how do you build a brand with meaning that's purposeful and what people can relate to. And that's truly how you scale. And so basically, people don't buy products, they buy stories they want to be a part of. And I have something here to just share because I think it's really important for us to take home that the brands that are winning today, they're really not selling products at you. It's not about who has the best products, because in 6 months' time, there's going to be like a copycat in the market. Somebody's going to do a product that's probably better than yours. It's not about having a cheaper price, because somebody's product is always going to be cheaper than yours. And it's not about being the loudest in the market, because ultimately somebody's going to have the most marketing budget and they can do as much as they want with marketing. But the brands that are winning are brands that people believe in, right? If I take Nike, for example, Nike doesn't come at you and say, buy the latest Air Jordan. They're selling it's not even about the just do it, which is the tagline, but what they're telling you is, or what you now believe, if I have a body, I'm an athlete, I need to go out, I need to run, I need to do things, and for me to do that, I'm gonna get a Nike pair of shoes. So what they're selling to you is a story that we now believe that, I need a Nike or I need an Adidas to be able to move. Yeah. And I think what's also exciting is, when it comes to differentiation, a lot of times people ask me, what is your USP? How many people hear that all the time? If you're building a brand, what's your unique selling point? So, I've added a new feature to this product. Mine is different because of this. And that doesn't cut it anymore in this space where things are so noisy. It's not about the feature, it's about the story. I think the story of your brand, two people can have the same product, and you wonder, how come this person sells more than the other? But it's the story, because that story is so important. And so what I wanted to share, without this feeling too much like a class, is something that has worked on cover. And it's called a flywheel concept. I would encourage you guys, if you read, to get a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And he talks...
Can you take that again?
The book is called Good to Great by Jim Collins. Truly how to take your brand from good to great. And he explains the flywheel effect, which I think came from an engineering concept that is now being used by brands as a strategy tool. But ultimately, what the flywheel means is, previously, when you think about distribution of your products, you launch your product, you think about distribution, you look for retailers, you go to sell. And then you're spending so much money on advertising. A flywheel means that you're using less momentum. Like once you get the momentum running, it just becomes a really exciting look where you don't have to put too much behind your marketing spend. You don't have to invest so much in your, in your campaigns or whatever it is that you're building. And so the flywheel concept that I wanted to share today was about, starting with a story. And once you have a solid story, your story then creates trust. And so once customers believe and they see the trust, it then goes into sales. And from sales, it goes to advocacy. And so once you have advocacy means people have used your brand, they're talking about it, and what they're talking about is the story. And then it goes back in the loop, from story to trust, to sales, and then to advocacy. I think it's such a powerful tool. Like if you go home today, take a step back and say, if I want to start starts with your story. What is your why? Why have you created this product? What do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? That is your story of your brand. That story will then build the trust. And this is why should I trust this brand? And it moves on. And so I think I'll cut it a little bit. I had some laws. Let me know if you want me to stop. I have a couple more slides, but I think I really wanted to make this very practical as well. And so there's some 3 laws around building a belief-driven brand. And the first is your brand is not what you sell. It's actually what people say about you when you're not in the room. So again, I said that earlier, whether it's building a community and when you're not there, what are people saying about your brand? If nobody is saying anything, or if you don't know what that is, the world will create it for you, and you don't want that. So I think ultimately take a step back and say, the brand that I'm building, what do I want people to know about this brand? If you don't have that, I'll take that as an assignment. It's not the product. Don't think about the product. Don't say I have dresses. Don't say I have sunscreen. It's not about that. It's the why behind that. And once you have a why, you'll find an audience that relates to that why. And once you have an audience that can relate, it then goes into that flywheel concept, because they start to trust. Once they trust, they start to buy. Once they buy and they use it, it gives that advocacy effect. And then you build a community and you grow sales.
So do you want them to do the exercise, or they can that's their take?
I mean, it's a good take home to say, if you can take one, like right now, if you don't think you have your story, write it down, or maybe just put the question down, but write one sentence. What do you want people to describe your brand as when you're not in the room? The second law for me just says the brand is not your story. It's their story with you in it. So don't think about, you're not telling people per se what you want them to. Don't push your agenda on people. I think once you create the story, your audience or your consumers will start to drive and roll with that story. So for example, how many people are familiar with Dove, the beauty campaign around Dove? Exactly. Dove doesn't say, I moisturize 3 times better than any other moisturizer. They've never said that. What they say, and what we have now taken, is that with Dove as a woman, it's building self-esteem, it's building confidence. And so because I trust that and I can relate to it, next time I go on shelf, I pick it up. So it's starting from that story. They're not saying my moisturizer is better, but they're saying women, deserve beauty in their own way. They deserve confidence and self-esteem. And then the third law for me is about, we're not building a brand, we're creating stories that people tell. And if you go to the next slide without taking too long, I can give an example of what that means and what we did at Uncover, how we built a brand by telling stories. And so, we have a customer, her name is Kiki. Kiki, is going through an acne journey, which is an amazing journey, and she shares her journey online through her platform and through Uncover. And a lot of women relate to her story, her acne journey and that story. And so at Uncover, when we launched our blemish control serum, which was for tackling acne, it was only befitting that we put Kiki that has acne on our billboard. We didn't get a model. We got a real customer with acne. No brand has ever done that before. Everybody wants to make your billboard look amazing. We got her as our customer to tell her story. We put her on the billboard. We put her everywhere, and that for us tripled our engagement. Our sales skyrocketed during that period because people could relate with somebody that looks like them. They could see that in the stories, in the ads, as she was sharing her story. Now the flywheel effect of that is that more women started buying the products and started sharing their story. And that's truly what the power of storytelling is. I think I can end it there because I have a couple more slides, but I think on this last slide, just to say, if there's anything you take away from the slides today, just go back to the next slide. There are 4 blueprints when it comes to telling your story. The first is mapping out your truth. Then finding the enemy, the promise, and your proof. So what truth means basically is, what do you believe? What does your brand stand for? What do you believe as your brand? Take that as an assignment, please, and make sure because if you're not clear, you solving? So what are you fighting? What will you change? What will change because of you? It is the promise, and the proof is why should people, use you. So for example, at Uncover, what we believe is that melanated skin women should be a priority and not an afterthought. So no matter what you hear about Uncover, ultimately one story remains that we are creating products for us. That is our truth. The second, which is the enemy that we are fighting, is just the beauty industry that has ignored women of color, particularly in Africa, for a very long time. We're not in the conversations, nobody's making skincare products or beauty products for us. That is the enemy. The promise is that we are using global best technology in Korea, merging that with African botanicals to make high quality skincare products that resonate and works for us. And finally, the proof is that we have testimonials. We have people that have used it. We've sold over 500,000 skincare products or units in the last 5 years. We've run into so many, recognition. I think the proof is there. Most of our women use it and they share their story. So that is clarity. Somebody asked me about my brand very clear. And I think if any of this is missing in your brand or all four are missing, please take that assignment home. Give yourself clarity and live with that. Live with growing your products. Use that to understand how to hire your team. Use that to understand your marketing campaigns. Use everything starts from here. So hopefully